Are you the one that prioritizes your family and time for yourself in order to build and reflect and rejuvenate? Or are you just focused on work? When you think about the three spheres in life, work, family, and yourself, which one takes the majority of your time? Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. You know, one of the biggest gripes that I hear in our industry is I don't have time. Too busy. It's springtime. Are you crazy? I can barely get all my work done in the day. How am I going to spend more time with my customers? You know, I just got off a podcast here with Jeremy Swihart over at J Squared Landscape Design Build. And, you know, he brought something up that I wanted to go deeper into with you guys. He brought up this concept of time management. You know, we all get 24 hours in a day, whether you're Elon Musk or whoever else. Everyone gets 24 hours in a day. So the question is, what are you doing with your 24 hours? Are you scheduling your schedule to be very purposeful and making sure that anything that goes in your schedule actually has to earn its right into your schedule? Or are you just kind of shooting off the hip? Where are you? It's time to be honest with yourself and figure out where all your time is going. Is it putting out fires in your business constantly because of lack of systems and expectations that aren't set with your customers and or your employees? What I wanted to do today was share with you a little tidbit that I've learned over the years that has helped me with my time management. And it's, first of all, when it comes to the customer side of things, we have to understand that if we are always available to our customers whenever they want us to be, that we have less value in their mind. What I mean by that is, imagine your lawyer or your doctor. If whenever you picked up your phone, they were just always available and ready to serve you, would you take their time? Would you take their profession seriously? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that those people are bad. I don't mean that picking up your phone quickly is bad. What I do mean is that having some guardrails on your phone, on your time, knowing that you have certain limits and how much you're willing to tolerate from your clients. Because let's start out this scenario with, you know, you meet with a client, everything looks good. It's that dream project on the corner lot where everybody's going to see it. It's the one you've been waiting for. And your customer is maybe not the ideal customer, but you're like, you know what, I'll just deal with it for now because I know that the long-term payoff is going to be good. And so you give them a proposal and they say, I'm not spending $65,000. I'll give you $55,000. And you say, okay, because it's a corner lot. And pretty soon they have a lot of questions about, you know, the start of the build after you've accepted that lower proposal, that lower rate. Then you're like, you know what? They start calling you and they start asking you all kinds of questions. Can you add this in? Can you change that? What if we move this? What if this happens? And you just take the calls, whether it's at 10 a.m. in the morning or 2 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 8 o'clock at night. Pretty soon it's 10 o'clock texts at night because they're going to bed, want to get it off their mind, and you see it and you respond because you really want to make this project work and you already have the project, but you really want to make sure you take care of this customer because it's a corner lot. It's going to be amazing. And then after a while, that client starts to wear you down. And pretty soon you feel like, man, they text me like once a day. They call every other day. They're driving me crazy. They're driving me nuts. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop this now. I don't know how to get this under control because right now it feels like I'm being run like a rented mule. And I'm exhausted from it. Like, holy moly, I've got 40 other projects. I got 8 other projects to work on. Like, how am I possibly going to get all of that done and keep up with them? And if I don't get back to them, they're going to get pissed at me. Sound familiar? So here's what I've learned along the way that hopefully can help you as well. And what it is to set up guardrails to your day, that you're only going to do calls or texts or emails between a certain time. Let's just call it 9 to 5, like most professionals in the world, that you're available from 9 to 5 throughout the day. And in the evening, you aren't. You're with your family. You're doing hobbies, things that really bring even more fulfillment, joy, and love into your life. Making connections, working on yourself, working on your relationships, all of that kind of stuff. If that's from 5 p.m. till 9 a.m. and 9 to 5 happens to be the time that you work on with your customers. Now, all of a sudden, when that customer texts you at 10 o'clock at night, because it's on their mind to get that off their chest so they can go to sleep and get it out, and you don't answer until 9 the next day, you start setting a precedent. You start setting an expectation for them. Like, all right, well, I don't know how this works yet. I don't know how he or she communicates. So I'm going to Text now and see what happens. 9 o'clock the next morning, you respond back. 10 o'clock, you respond back. And they're like, all right, cool. I guess he does regular hours. Then if they text you during the day and you respond and it's good all the way up till 5, and then that's it. They text you at 6, it doesn't happen until the next day. Imagine a world where you had some kind of control over what happens in that time, where you could be fully involved with your family or sports or whatever you do after work. Imagine if you could have that peace inside of you. It all comes from setting expectations. And if you have no guardrails, if you don't respect your own time, nobody else is going to either. If you don't respect your time with your family and you're constantly on your phone and somehow it gives you the feeling of importance because everybody keeps calling you, well, that'll go so long until your family starts to resent that phone because it's always taking you away from them. So this podcast is more of a deeper dive into what exactly are you doing with your time and how much do you value it? How much do you value having some guardrails on that phone, on that availability to your customers? It's a very important part. Imagine if you had more control over that, and maybe at 5 o'clock, instead of doing stuff with the family, maybe they're busy, you could work on your business instead, or 6 o'clock or 7, whatever your time is to finish for the day. Imagine if you could actually have time scheduled going into that thing that you have in your pocket, that phone that has a schedule built into it. If you could start scheduling everything, imagine how much more effective you could be with your time if you could schedule time to work on your business and not just chasing fires, just dealing with the loudest thing now. And I say all this because I've been there. I've done all these things. I've walked into the cobwebs of not setting proper boundaries with customers and letting them walk all over me. I did it for years, and I thought that's just the way it was supposed to be. We're contractors. They just always have questions at the oddest time because they work all day. They come home, they have questions for us, and that's that. I also highly suggest, or at least want you to consider, not taking meetings outside of a 9 to 5 schedule or 9 to 6, whatever makes sense to you. Having a clear expectation that you only take meetings between those brackets, and don't let your customers' schedule impact that. Because if they're going to spend decent money with you, do you think they're going to try to make time to actually meet with you? If only you keep giving up your time and they always have it convenient for themselves, that sets a precedent that your time is worth less than theirs, and that they're going to go on living their life, and you're just going to bend and do whatever they need in order to make the job work. It takes you out of what we call the power position. And that's not power over somebody. That's simply a power over your own time. Think about it. If your customers truly want to work with you, they will make time. It is amazing how that works. Weekends, off limits. That's family time. That's time for you to rest and rejuvenate for the next week. Now, I know some of you listening are like, yeah, there's no freaking way possible that I couldn't take night meetings because I'm working all day and I have to do it on the weekend too. But think back about it. When are you actually building time in for you and your family purposefully into your schedule? Are you? Are you even considering them? Or is this more about you winning? Or at least giving the appearance of winning? Think about that. Which is it for you? For most professionals, losing at this game called business is far scarier than not being at a football game and not being at a graduation or not being at some big life event for a family member because you are a busy professional running around out there chasing leads. Think about it. Which are you? Are you the one that prioritizes your family and time for yourself in order to build and reflect and rejuvenate? Or are you just focused on work? When you think about the 3 spheres in life, work, family, and yourself, which one takes the majority of your time? Work, relationships and family, or time for yourself? Doing that exercise will help you start to understand where your priorities are in life. And when it comes to time management, where you could better allocate time for the things that truly matter. I was told once by a coach years ago, don't sweat the things that you're not going to remember in 5 minutes or even 5 hours or 5 days from now. Those things that seem so absolutely important, a big fire that's going to blow everything up. And in 10 minutes from then, you can't even remember what that was. Think about that. How many things do we take so seriously that really don't have a lot of impact. Oftentimes in business, we major in minor things. We major in all the little nuances of the business that really don't turn the dial, that don't bring the sales in, that don't drive client experience. They're more about the little nuances that we'd rather have that way, but really aren't a necessity. So are you majoring in minor things, or are you actually purposefully integrating your time each and every day in a way that you're getting the maximum effectiveness and a maximum impact from that time invested? Because it is, my friends, it is an investment at the end of the day. Are you making good trades? Are you making good investments? Or are you not? Now, only you can answer that question. But what I would say is if you are finding yourself being dragged all over the place from your clients, texting and calling and demanding and all that, and you feel like it's completely out of control, especially in the springtime now, you've got to ask yourself, who's at fault for that? Who has the power to change that? And the only person that has the power to change that is you. To start putting some guardrails on your schedule, to start putting some boundaries up. And that might feel a little bit strange in the beginning. Trust me, I understand that. But when you finally start putting some boundaries, some guardrails on your time, you start valuing your time and you start respecting those other spheres of your life outside of work, relationships and family and in yourself, to have time for you to rest and restore. The entire thing we call life becomes so much better to experience. Now, so much of that happens around building systems and processes for what you do. We talked a lot about that, or some at least on the last podcast with Jeremy. He talks about everything as a system for him. And that's the only way that he can find his way out of the daily grind, is for those customers and his employees to rely on systems and not him. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds insane. Like, when do you got time to do that? But trust me, everybody that I've interviewed over the last 3.5 years that owns a business and not their job, the difference was the fact that they invested in and prioritized putting systems in place to replace themselves. That's the secret, ladies and gentlemen. That's the secret. It might sound boring and insane and impossible, but that's, if you want to own a business and not your job, that's really the next step to do that. And it can be as simple as systemizing how your trucks are parked, like Jeremy was talking about. And if you guys didn't listen to the last episode, go back and listen. He has a lot of great information there on what they're working on and what they're doing. Ways to systemize and simplify everything. This makes owning a business so much better. But if you can't manage your time with your customers and you have a hard time doing that with your employees, then I hate to say, scaling is just going to become a very chaotic dumpster fire. Because those things, once you get close to $1 million, if they're not locked in and you don't have systems in place, you're just going to run against the wall left and right. And I don't say that because I want to scare you. I say it because I hear it all the time in the podcast and in life in general. That about that $1 million mark is where you can't just wing it anymore. You have to have systems in place. You heard Jeremy from last week. It's important for us as professionals to act like professionals. And what do professionals do? They have hours. They have boundaries. They allow for certain things to happen and they don't allow for other things to happen. They invest in systems and processes and training. That's what professionals do. And if we're going to raise this industry up, we're going to grow as an industry to be respected in the homes of every client that we walk into, just like they would respect their doctor or their lawyer, we're going to have to change the way we do things. We're going to have to go in there and say, okay, well, I'm not a contractor. I'm actually a professional. I'm an outdoor living professional, not just some rinky-dink contractor that they can just spit on. It's not what it's going to be anymore. The only way that changes, though, is we have to change. We have to value our time because they won't if we don't. So if you need help with systems around sales specifically, if you need help integrating and learning how to communicate properly to your clients in a way that you can get 60, 70, 80+% close rate and be able to do that on the phone before you ever leave the office. That's what we specialize here at Yes Express. We specialize in helping you do what we've done over at Master Plan, was to help clients have a better experience and to know whether they're worth our time to be invested or whether it's better if we point them in a different direction so they can work with somebody else who is more directly in line with what they need. We're here to guide them. We're not the heroes. We're the guides. So if you need help learning a step-by-step process in order to do that, to start this process of systemizing to get you, the owner, out of the day-to-day grind and to start empowering people on your team to grow your business so you can take more vacations, you can spend more time with your family, have less stress. The first step is any kind of system. And just like you heard Jeremy say last week, the system that he started with was sales. And that's where most, if not all, should start with. Because once sales is lined up, you can make a lot of mistakes on the back end in production, as long as you have the flow of yeses in the front side. And if you don't, it makes it a far more difficult, much more difficult journey along the way. So guys, if you want help getting started with that first system, sales, book a call. Down in the show notes, you'll see the link. And I'd love to chat with you, see what you got going on now and how we can enhance that so you can start stepping back and let your team take over your business so that you can grow and take it to the next level and scale like you've always dreamed of. All right, guys, until next week. Thanks.